Hi there. Welcome to the fourth and final week of the Attention Management Program videos. Congratulations on making it this far. I hope that you have tried out as many of the skills as you can and found at least a few that you will continue to use after you're done watching these videos. Remember, you can always come back and rewatch any portion of these videos anytime. But without further ado, let's get into week 4. So the CBT skill for week 4 is going to be focused on connecting with our emotions and our values. So before diving in, let's review where we've been so far. Remember this human triangle from week 3? In weeks 1 and 2, the CBT videos focused on providing some strategies in the behavioral realm, meaning actions or behaviors that you can do or intentionally avoid doing to promote focus and attention. Here's a list of a few that we covered right here. You also learned the very important skill of taking some load off your working memory. And then in week 3, we moved up to the thoughts prong of this human triangle and worked on cognitive restructuring, or exploring, understanding, and harnessing the power of our thoughts to make them work for us rather than work against us. You experimented with grading your thoughts on how helpful they are rather than on whether they're necessarily true or false. And so in week 4, we are headed to the final prong of this triangle, and we're going to go through some skills related to emotion or feelings. Those are feeling the future and, if you can see this little bubble here, feeling the past. I will also introduce some information and strategies aimed at helping you identify your personal values, which can guide a lot of our behaviors and even be used to combat and shift some of those core beliefs. So let's get started. And we'll start with those strategies of feeling the future and feeling the past. And those strategies come straight from this fabulous book written by Dr. Russell Barkley, a prominent ADHD researcher. It's called Taking Charge of Adult ADHD. In this book, Dr. Barkley explains that people with ADHD may feel unmotivated because there's no emotion immediately attached to the task that you're completing. This can be true for other folks as well. You don't have to have ADHD to have this experience. It's just the context he writes in. So it's really important to be in touch with the emotion related to the task you're completing, because our emotions are extremely powerful motivators. I mean, think about these examples. When we feel joy or happiness, it inspires us to do more of something we like. Compassion makes us reach out to others, say something reassuring. Anger is a very powerful emotion that can lead us to demand change where it's necessary. And even something like embarrassment or shame helps us avoid repeating past mistakes. Make sense? I mean, you can probably relate to all of those emotions. I know I certainly can. But sometimes it can be really difficult to call them up in the moment, as Dr. Barkley would call it, the point of performance, when you're trying to do the thing and you're finding yourself at a loss for motivation. You may find yourself sitting there wanting to work on something, yet feeling kind of strangely disconnected from it. And to combat that feeling of disconnection or amotivation, we need to call upon our emotions pretty actively. So how do we do this? Well, I'm going to invite you right in this moment to give it a try for yourself. So think of something that you need to get done or that you want to get done right now, but you're feeling stuck with it. Could be a big thing or it could be a pretty small task. Got it? Okay. Now close your eyes and answer this question. What will it feel like when I get this done? What will it feel like when I get this done? Really sit with this. Focus on that emotional sensation. Can you put a name to it? Maybe relief, pride, joy, accomplishment, the excitement of sharing an accomplishment with other people. Whatever its label is, where does it live in your body? And how will your body feel when you get this done? Any weight be lifted off? Is there an image that comes to your mind as you sit with this emotion? If so, call it to your mind's eye and really experience it. Imagine it. Breathe it in. Well done. You can open your eyes. This is exactly the skill. We have to, even if it feels a little weird, close our eyes or just pause and get in touch with what will it feel like when I finish this task. Sometimes that can help you motivate you in the moment to find the energy you need to get moving. And this can be useful in both directions. Sometimes we need to feel the future, and sometimes we need to call up memories of past events. These could be good memories, good feelings, relief or pride and an accomplishment, or they might be not so good. Dr. Barkley recommends that you talk out loud, or write down memories of past events to kind of assess for how they went. So you might think to yourself, when is the last time I was in a similar situation? When is the last time I was in the middle of a writing project and couldn't get it done? How did that go? How did I feel? What might I do differently this time? Or if it went well, what might I do again? And you may discover that this can actually be really powerful work when you're feeling stuck. So once you call up that emotion memory of either the future or the past, how do you hold on to it? Well, here's a couple of suggestions straight out of Dr. Barkley's book. These might feel a little bit weird at first, but they really work. To hold on to your motivation, say it out loud. Say it out loud to yourself or to a friend. Text it to somebody. Or write it down. And consider writing it on something that is close to you. So I'll give you a personal example for a moment. Right now, I am in the middle of a big project that I took on because it's something I want to do. I'm nearly finished, but I'm really having trouble getting the last of it done. And I want to do it, but I really am struggling with that motivation to actually sit down and let the rubber meet the road, so to speak. So if I imagine how I will feel once this last thing is accomplished, I just imagine a sense of relief and kind of being impressed with all that I've done as I look back over the whole project. And when I do that, when I feel relaxed and relieved, for some reason, what comes into my mind is this feeling of sitting down on my couch with the remote in my hand, turning on Netflix, because that's what I do to relax. And there's something really nice about watching a show with nothing nagging in the background. Oh, you could be working on this. Is this really what you should be doing right now? You probably have had this experience before. Here at the moment, I have saved up a bunch of episodes of The Great British Baking Show that I fully intend to binge watch with reckless abandon as soon as I get this project done. So, it may sound a little bit weird, but as I say it out loud right now, I feel some of the relief and excitement about that. To remind myself of that feeling, maybe I'll say this out loud to myself again, or I could play a little bit of the theme song if I'm in the moment when I'm feeling like I just need an extra push. Or maybe I'll just write it down. I keep a little pad of sticky notes just on the other side of my computer. I could write Bake Off on that, or I could write, remember how relieved you will feel. And then stick it somewhere where I'm likely to see it. That is a really powerful way to hold on to the emotion that will motivate you. So that's the skill of getting connected to our emotions and using them to motivate us. we're going to end week 4 with a discussion of another important facet, and maybe even the most important facet of motivation, and that is our personal values. When I say values, I do not mean a specific goal or a specific achievement. Values are bigger than that. Values are your heart's deepest desire for what you want to achieve and how you want to behave as a human. They're like an internal compass, hence the image in this slide, guiding your actions. And just like a compass, it's very easy and normal to get off track with your values. We're not always headed perfectly due north in our life, but that's what a value is. It's like a lighthouse in a stormy sea, standing tall and guiding you slowly toward it. So the first step in harnessing the power of these values to provide motivation and guidance is to identify what they are and what they are for you. Everyone's personal guiding values are going to be a little bit different. There's hundreds of different values and a lot of ways to get at them. So here are some questions that might help you identify your personal values. What got you started? If you think back to before you started the project, the degree, the effort that you're involved in, what was it that motivated you? How do you want to be remembered? When you graduate from the U of A, for instance, or move to a new city, or even in the last chapters of your life, how do you want people to talk about you? What might you want someone to say in a speech at your graduation about what you were like as a student or a friend? Which leads me to this question. What kind of a person would you like to be? What kind of a friend or student, partner, or child? When you think of that, it can lead you to some words like compassionate, loving, funny, lighthearted, creative. Those are examples of personal values that can be one of the points of your compass. What do you stand for? What issues, what rights, what things going on in this world really inspire you, or would you be willing to stand up for? If you're still having trouble identifying values, there's a lot of online quizzes. One is called the VIA, the Values in Action Survey. There's others called Values Card Sorts, all kinds of resources online to help you figure this out. And I've also included a link in the comments box, or description box below, to a 2-minute video about the power of knowing your why, knowing the why, the values behind what you're doing. So once you identify these values, write them down, and let that list really remind you of the bigger picture why behind what you're doing in general, and even what you're doing in that moment when you're trying to get through a task. This why can be a really powerful, inspirational, motivational factor. So I really hope that these videos have been useful to you. We have a lot of other content on the ADHD Clinic page with links to helpful websites and suggestions of books like this one, if you want to keep working on some of these skills that you've learned through the videos, or even develop new ones. I encourage you to look through that and look through all of the resources on our website. If you would like to talk with a counselor about next steps or how you might take some of these strategies to the next level, come in for a triage visit or bring it up at your next scheduled appointment if you already have a CAPS provider. Thank you so much for watching all these videos, and we hope that they've been useful to you. Go forth and do great things. Bye-bye.